Hey there gamers, DreamcastGuy here. Today we're talking about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, because I have now beaten the game, and to be honest, I kind of hate it. And I feel bad saying that because I am a very old school fan of Metroid. I've been playing them for literally decades. In fact, before I even actually decided to play 4, I went back and rebeat the original version of Metroid Prime 1. I rebeat Metroid Fusion. I beat Metroid Dread for like the 5th time. So going into Prime 4 Beyond, I had high expectations of it being at least as good as the previous games. Everything about Metroid Prime 4 is frustrating, from the absolutely cringy writing, to the terrible jokes, to the weird world design at times, the empty fields. I have a lot of complaints, but I do want to start with the one positive of it. Let me get into this, but first, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, Metroid Prime 4 is a very short game. The fact that it's been in development since 2017, they actually revealed this in 2017, pretty much 8 years of development. The game is about 8 hours long. It's between like 8 and 10 hours long to beat it. If you're trying to do a 100% completion file, it's about 12 hours. But the one thing I think definitely does work, what this does better than anything else, this is easily the most graphically impressive Nintendo game we've ever gotten. Maybe some Nintendo games have better art style or better visuals here and there, but beat for beat, this entire game runs at 4K 60 FPS. You can also choose to play it at 1080p 120 FPS. The visuals in this game are fantastic. Like, my capture card actually only goes up to about like 2K resolution. Seeing this on an actual TV, the game looks insane. The art style of the monsters themselves, the layouts of these different dungeons we go through, the visuals are absolutely peak Metroid. But once you get past that thin veneer of cool shininess, it feels like this game just doesn't understand what it's trying to do. So let's break this into 3 separate things. Let's talk about the gameplay, let's talk about the story, and let's talk about the very empty problem of the field. So let's start with that gameplay, right? If you've never played a Metroid game, they're first-person shooters, but ever since the very start, what makes the Metroid Prime games feel so unique is honestly the fact that there's a nice kinetic force to it. Being Samus Aran, in this game, we're transported to this mysterious far-off planet. Now, the whole goal of it is that you're trying to find like these 5 teleporter keys. There's 5 main dungeons. You beat the 5 dungeons, you go against the last boss, you get off the planet, right? But what makes this gameplay loop feel so bad is the constant companions. So even though this is a first-person shooter with a cursed Metroidvania aesthetic, you're going from dungeon to dungeon, getting particular upgrades, an extra ability to grapple hook, something that could yank objects to you, a dash for your little ball thing that can actually charge stuff up. And as you get these, it's also about very fun backtracking, going back to a previous dungeon where you saw a door you couldn't unlock, and then going there again and saying, oh, now I can progress, not just for optional upgrades, but sometimes just, hey, now I can actually progress the story by going to that previous area and get like a suit upgrade that lets me go across lava. I think the actual dungeon design is good, and I do honestly like that the puzzles are perfectly balanced. The combat is perfectly balanced. I feel like throughout the course of this entire game, I think I died like 3 times, and twice were actually the puzzles, electric puzzles I couldn't solve in the Vault Tower. But what I do like is the fact that there were bosses where I did actually feel a little bit stumped trying to figure out what I was supposed to do. And when I was getting low health, I actually started to feel that intensity of, oh man, how am I going to survive this? I like that. The problem is that each of the 5 dungeons has very annoying NPCs in them. Oh god. So there are characters that are stuck on this planet with us, and you have to protect them. There are escort missions in each of the dungeons where if your teammate dies, if you're not able to revive them in time, it just ends the game. And the save points are not automatic. There's one autosave pretty much per dungeon. Usually when you defeat a main boss, it'll actually autosave. Other than that, you have to constantly backtrack to the nearest save point. Usually in each dungeon, there's like 2 save points. One all the way at the start and one about 3/4 the way through it. It means that I have lost progress here and there because I died, and sorry, for a 2025 game, I guess checkpoints are irrelevant. A lot of the design in this feels very retro. And not just because it's by Retro Studios, but something about it just feels like this feels a lot like a game from 10 years ago. Why am I protecting weak NPCs with limited health pools? Why am I waiting for an NPC to hack a panel? Why am I doing so many like push block puzzles and stuff? It just feels like there's a lot of stuff in here that I think was a better idea 10 years ago. Let me talk a bit about, well, the very, very, very bad story in a completely spoiler-free fashion. But let me start with the thing that annoyed me the most. Samus is completely silent. She does not say a single word. Every single thing that is said at her. People talk at her. People radio her. And this is weird because I think they changed it mid-development. I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat here. There are people that ask you questions that seem like they're replying as if Samus did say something. People will radio call you saying, Samus, I'm being eaten by rabid dogs. Come and help me. And it goes, okay, good. Thanks, Samus. I'll see you in a second. There are so many times where people are saying stuff to her where she should at least say affirmative, where she should do some sort of acknowledgement. But beyond just the silence of it, I hate that every character that can talk is so dang cringy. I do not like Marvel movies. I think I liked Marvel movies, 15 years ago, whenever all that stuff really kicked off. They were fun and cool at the time. But man, I hate Marvel movie writing. I hate that cliche, well, that just happened. Every character in here is so ridiculously annoying. Everybody has constant quips and weird, oh man, I'm getting eaten on an alien planet, but at least I don't have to sit next to Doug who's in that other cubicle. Every character is infuriatingly annoying and does not shut up. Like, characters will call you on the phone if you're missing a power-up or something. Hey, bring me that key so I can charge you up. I hate that everybody literally will not shut up. Like, even the best characters are the ones that shut up the most. I feel like that is a statement of how bad your writing is the silent characters, the characters that only say stuff that's actually relevant. Those are the ones that are the easiest to endure. There is a Metroid fanboy in this. There is a Samus Aran fangirl in this, who when she meets you wants an autograph. Every character in this game is ear-piercingly annoying. Even if I did like the gameplay more, I think the gameplay is fine. I like the puzzles. I like the bosses. I like that every boss is itself kind of a puzzle, using your different mechanics and abilities and unlocks. It is so aggravating to hear these unskippable cutscenes. At one point I died, I lost about 30 minutes of progress, and I had to listen to Miles, the worst character, go through multiple cutscenes again, unskippably explaining the things I had already done on the previous save file. I hate these NPCs so much. It's to the point where if they weren't saying actually crucial advice sometimes, I'd completely mute the game. But since you do kind of have to listen to it, it's relevant to at least semi-understand what's up, right? Okay. They try to have multiple plot twists in this game. They try to have grand reveals. Samus's silence literally makes no sense in certain contexts. I don't want to get into any of the spoilers of it, but towards the end of the game, there are things that she is clearly supposed to say and react to that she just looks at plainly. They also do that thing that annoys me. So many Marvel movies do that thing where like the characters are on an alien planet, but their mask opens up so they can like say something witty and quippy. Every character in this game constantly has their face masks opening up so they can make a joke and then it closes up. Brother, if this planet is so dangerous, keep your stuff shut. Okay. Let's talk about the upgrades. The best part of any Metroidvania, this genre, is that fun loopiness of it, right? Constantly getting that next cool thing. All the upgrades in this game, all the abilities you unlock are called psychic. Essentially, the aliens that originally lived here, they had this prophecy about a chosen one coming, which of course ends up being Samus. So they give this like big crystal in your forehead that at the start gives you very basic psychic abilities, moving around little tiny switches and stuff like that. But eventually it gives you psychic boots that let you jump on mind energy, the psychic boost that lets you basically roll dash faster, psychic kinesis so you can pull little bombs and shoot them to activate particular barriers. I think I like all the upgrades a lot, and I like how they're explained. Honestly, nothing in here is super advanced. These are all abilities we've seen in every other game. I mean, a lot of that stuff has been, especially in the previous Metroid Prime trilogy, but My big problem with it is that nothing in here feels like an advancement, right? Consider the fact that it has been like 18 years since Metroid Prime 3 came out, and you can't even play that now. Like, consider how weird it is. So much of this game, the battle against Sylux, the big bad of Metroid right now and stuff like that, so much of this feels like it's trying to follow up on a storyline that happened almost 2 decades ago. Like, how weird is it to consider that we had Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3 back to back, almost a 20-year gap, and now they're like, oh yeah, so as I was saying, and they continue those storylines. It feels like there's some quintessential DNA that is just missing. I feel like this game, if it sells well, I'll actually be shocked, because it feels like such a weird niche compared to a lot of other games. But let's talk about the worst part of this game. Beyond the terrible writing, beyond everything else, it's the motorcycle. The motorcycle is called Viola, right? Now, when you're driving around the desert, it's big, it's empty, and it is mandatory. You don't just drive from base to base. There is no fast travel, so you're not just driving back and forth from dungeon to dungeon every time you think you have the proper upgrade for the next advancement. The other problem is that at the end of the game, one of the things they do to unlock the final dungeon is you have to break every single crystal and find everything in the entire giant empty desert. You spend so much time just going grid by grid, doing giant, boring, empty laps. Now you might think, oh, well, maybe the soundtrack's good. No, the soundtrack is halfway decent. Some of the dungeon music is kind of cool. Some of the boss themes are cool. So maybe you're thinking, hey, well, while you're cruising, why not turn on some good music? So there is an ability to choose what music you listen to. Do you know how you do that? You have to buy a $30 amiibo. You cannot pick the music that plays on your bike unless you skin the Metroid amiibo of the Viola motorbike. This basically means it is $30 DLC. This is scummy. This is scummy, and it shows the fact that I feel like it's weird that Nintendo's greed is not talked about more. This game has something very interesting in the center of it. I'm glad it exists. It's cool to get another Metroid game. Personally, I like the 2D Metroids way more than the 3D Metroids. My favorite 2 games, actually, of the Metroid series are Metroid Fusion and Metroid Dread. But, you know, a big 3D Metroid, a big high-budget, graphically impressive one. Why would you just trip at the finish line and fill it with cringe, with annoying characters, with backtracking to get mandatory upgrades that a lot of times feel irrelevant and time filler at worst, and across all of it, laps and laps in a completely empty desert that does nothing to enrich the experience? Metroid Prime 4 is not the worst game of the year, but to me, it is easily the worst Metroid game we've maybe ever gotten. Maybe Other M is worse, but this is easily in the bottom 3 Metroids of all time, and it's absolutely baffling they would choose to do this. So much time in the oven, and it still feels undercooked. All right, so we've heard a lot of bad and a little bit of good, but let's go over to the ratings board and put a big number on it. I am giving Metroid Prime 4 Beyond a 6 out of 10. Oh my god. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying it more than I did. That's always kind of my motto, is that sometimes I hate a game. Sometimes just my particular interests, it freaking sucks. But hopefully you guys like these characters, this world, this version of Metroid. Because to me, I don't know, this is not the right call. I miss Samus from Metroid Fusion, where at least she had an internal monologue. I like to hear her sort of reflect on the war and the battles and the Metroids, but purely silent Samus is boring at best. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you could, please give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.